Hello everyone, my name is Mirna, and on behalf of the Mindalia TV team, welcome to Mindalia live streaming, where thousands of people around the world gather daily to see the lectures and interviews organized by Mindalia TV. Today we have the great pleasure of being joined by Natacha Kimberly. Who is Natacha Kimberly? Natacha Kimberly is certified as an active dreamer. As we have here, she is a specialist in altered state of consciousness. She was trained by Robert Moss, world-renowned specialist of shamanic journeying, and she is previously trained in the symbols and folktales at the National Institute of Oriental Languages and Civilizations in Paris, as part of her studies in Tibetan Languages and Civilizations of Southeast Asian, India, Nepal, and Upper Asia. But before starting with Natacha and our great conversation, we want to remind you that Mindalia's mission is to share information that can help raise the level of consciousness in the planet, and you can help us by subscribing to our channel, leaving us a positive comment down this video, or sharing with someone that you know that can benefit of the content that we're going to be talking here today. And when we are live streaming, we have an active chat. The screen you're going to see here on my side or under the video, in case that you're following us from a smartphone, we invite you to interact with us through there. Remember also not liking only this channel, but go to our Spanish channel, Mindalia Televisión, and our Portuguese channel, Mindalia Televisao. Visit our different platforms, Instagram accounts, Facebook pages, because we are broadcasting there on a daily basis information as beautiful and as interesting as the one that you're already used to see in Mindalia TV. We're not going to be delaying this any further, and I have the great pleasure of introducing Natacha. Natacha, welcome to Mindalia. How are you today?
Yeah, hello, Mirna, and thank you for having me today at your place and at that show. I'm very pleased to be there. I'm fine. I'm very happy to be there. Thank you. And
And
you, how are you
I'm
today?
doing great. Thank you for asking, and we're happy to have you today. Thank you for accepting our invitation, and let's just jump and dive into the conversation.
Okay.
As I am seeing, you are an expert in folk tales and symbolism. That
Mhm.
sounds completely interesting, and I wanted to find out a little bit more about it. When you talk about symbolism, what is exactly do we use? Why do we use symbols for it, and what could they mean? Is there a specific symbolism per culture, or that is that something that belongs to the collective unconsciousness? How does that work?
So symbols, I would say archetypes are the matrix of the symbols and of symbols, and it belongs to the collective unconsciousness, as you said, and you are totally right. And most of, I would say, symbols, they have a way to show and to pop up amongst different culture, and they have their own way to express themselves. So we have this, it's why we have same symbols who have different meanings, depends on the culture they are. So it depends, but they are all from, for example, you have the symbol of the archetype of the mother, and on different culture, you have one aspect or another aspect that is more present in the culture. But it's the same, I would say. In the collective unconsciousness, we have a matrix, and it gives birth to different symbols. That's kind of a color of a symbol of the archetype. You know, different angle, different color, but yeah, it comes from the collective unconsciousness, and we don't choose the symbols. I would say the symbols choose us, and they just pop up, and to just make a link between ourself, our conscious being, I would say, yes, our personality, and our inner being. We most of the time we don't know or we ignore. So that's the way a symbol expresses itself, and it expresses itself through dreamings, for example, or through shamanic journeying. We can see different symbols, different stuff, and different. So they have different meanings, and different meanings for different people, of course. So, Aldred, I would say we are very focused on our daily life. So we are here present in our daily material world. And there are a lot of different dimensions. And when we are in an altered state of consciousness, I would say the daily focus, daily consciousness is a little bit lower, and it allows these different dimensions just to pop up in our mind, or so we can grab some stuff, or we can tap into it and we can begin to understand it. So we have alternate state of consciousness, different ones. For example, the dream state is an alternate state of consciousness. So shamanic journeying is also one. If you are in a coma, or if you have near-death experiment, it's also an altered state of consciousness. Or people who are psychic, for example, they just grab stuff and it comes to them. So with intuition, and so all these different states are alternate states of consciousness. Yeah, to me, yes, but it depends. I would say it depends of the person. If you are dreaming during the night, you are in an alternate state of consciousness, but you are not trained to be lucid dreamer. So most of the time, you wake up and you just grab some stuff, and after it's over, and you don't have that link with your soul, I would say. So it fades. But if you are trained, and it's all about something that has to do with energy, if you have the right amount of energy, you will be able to go there, to come back with it, to be totally conscious. But it's a training. It's like everything else. It's training. It's a matter of training. No. Lucid dreaming is when you are dreaming, and or you are doing a shamanic journey, and you are totally aware of it, and you are also acting. We say active dreamer because we are. When you are lucid, you are a dreamer. You dream, and you are aware that you are sleeping and that you are dreaming. This is a lucid dreaming state. But when you are an active dreamer, you just take responsibility of your dream, and you act in dreams, so you can change reality. It's totally a shamanic way of dreaming. No, everybody dreams. That is sure. And you have a lot of studies about it. Everybody dreams during the night. But we have, I would say, some behaviors. For example, if you eat a lot, and if you eat something that is heavy, that can influence your dream. If you are on medication, if you had a lot of alcohol, if you smoke too much, if you smoke anything else, for example, or you do drugs, or if you are, it depends on what you are doing and how the way you are living your life. But everybody dreams. And the problem is we also don't pay that much attention to our dreams. So when we don't pay attention to our dreams, we most of the time don't remember them, or most of them. And after a while, we behave as if nothing happens. So, but everybody dreams, but everybody doesn't have the recollection of the dreams. That's the difference.
What happens when we're dreaming? What's like, or let me ask you this first. Like, Do you believe we are just a body, or we are made out of body and other bigger or smaller parts of ourselves? And what happens when we dream with those parts of ourselves? Our body, for what we know, stays in the bed and doesn't go anywhere. So what part of us goes into whatever we go when we dream?
To me, it's our energy body. Our energy body leaves the body and do what it has to do, I would say. And so if we have enough energy, we can be able about that, and we leave our body with when we are dreaming, and we do our stuff, and we remember it, and we are also able to influence it. So of course, I don't think that we are just a body. I don't think that, but many people do, because they don't have that experience, or the experience of leaving the body, leaving the physical body, and being with their energy body, because we have an energy body, and it's our energy body who does stuff, who is has his own activity, you know. And when it comes back, we just have these bits of what we did during the night, and it is our dream. But there are a lot of dimensions, and we go on different dimensions. So visiting dimensions, visiting other worlds. And some worlds are so different from ours, and have other, I would say, rules that we can barely take back with us, bring back with us what we learned at our experience, because it's too far away from our daily reality, you know.
Thank you. And you are an active dreamer, so you are familiar with what happened, how it happens, and you have used that as a tool for your own spiritual growth. But how did you realize you were an active dreamer? Is that something you already were and you found out, or someone taught you when you started the discipline of being an active dreamer?
So first of all, the word active dreamer is a word that Robert Moss made up for his work. And I'm a dreamer, and I always was a dreamer, but since I was a child. So since very little, I remembered my dream, but I also knew that it's not our imagination, that I have been in other worlds, I have visited other worlds, and that I had a lot of things going on, and a lot of activities, doing all that stuff. So I knew that it was also a reality. So since I was a child, and when you grow up and you have a lot of dreams, and you know that you have answers in the dreams, and so that's amazing to explore, because it's I would say we have a third of our life, and we don't even know what's going on that third, because people are just thinking, okay, they pass out, and the body has to rest, and okay, and then they are. No, to me, it's not like that. We do a lot during our dreams, you know. So, and we learn a lot. We are able to join some teaching, to have teaching, meet other people, and we do it all the time, all the time.
What type of answers can we find if we practice the discipline of active dreaming? Like, what type of tools or resources can we use to help our life when we're awake?
For example, if you have, you can foresee an accident. You can have information about your health. That, for example, you have a cancer, and but it wasn't detected because it's on its early stage. But you can have the information in your dreams, during your dreams, and during that part of life. And you can also see if a relationship you have is a good relationship or not. Or you can be in connection with your friends you didn't see since years or since months, and you just have to catch up with them. You can do a lot of things, or also be in touch with your departed ones. with the people who died. And you can, if you have some grudge or whatever with, you know, it happened a lot. You had a fight with somebody, and the next day you learned that the person is dead. So you can fix it during your dream. You already do it, but most of the time you are not aware of it. That's a problem. And so to me, it's better to be aware of it. And also you can visit other dimension, other times, other space, but also other times. For example, you can have teaching with people who died in the 14th century, or go to the future, to scan what's happening, what is going to happen in 200 years or 300 years. You can do a lot of things with the way you act in your dream, or you can use it for having information, but it's also a connection to yourself, to your inner, you know, your inner person, your inner being. I would say the immortal being that is within, and that is always, when we leave our body, I will still here. So we make that connection, and we work together with that part, with that immortal part of ourselves.
So basically, when we're dreaming, we are not constrained by the limitation of our physical body. We have a freedom of going back and forth in time, and probably going to other dimensions, or at least that's what, you know, studies reveal, and your own experience, for what I know. How can we, and for what we have talked, this is something that we can learn. We can actually learn how to be lucid and how to be aware of the fact that we're dreaming, and use it in our advantage. So, but how do we do that? Like, what are the steps? Is there an exercise? Is there, what will be the first step in order for us to at least, first of all, realize that we're dreaming?
So first, it's looking to our behavior. If you are on medication, I don't talk about people who had brain injuries. You know, that's something different. But for average people, first quit the heavy drinking, the heavy eating before going to sleep. That's the first step. And also all the medication, that's a problem sometimes, and the smoking and so. But if you have, I would say, a normal life, after that, the most important is programming ourselves to get the dream and to remember a dream, because we get it, but we don't remember it. So we can begin to have a relation before going to bed and ask ourselves to, okay, tonight I want to have a dream, and I want to remember a dream. And even in the morning, even it's just a snip of it, you know, just an image. An image can give a lot of information. And that's a beginning, just remembering and programming ourselves, and also being open to the possibility that the dreams are important. Because if you think that dreams are not important and do not mean anything, that they are meaningless, you won't be able to have a good relationship with your all these dimension in yourself, you know. So first of it, but I would say if somebody thinks that the dreams are not important, they won't do that work. So, but first, dreams are important, they mean something, and after programming ourselves and doing it during a few days, 1 week or two, and see what's coming. And the next morning when you wake up and you have just a snip of it, just write it down. Or tell it to your, you know, on your iPhone or whatever, smartphone, so that you remember it. Because when you are just caught in the daily life, you will lose the whole, I would say, the gift, what can bring a dream. So remembering, it's another step. But to remember, you have to just lay down, to stay in bed I would say maybe 1 or 2 minutes, just to recall the dream and then write it down. These are the few steps: programming, writing it down. First few steps.
So basically, the very first thing we need to do is just wanting to do it. It's that
Yeah,
simple. Just
yeah, yeah, of course.
get in agreement with yourself and say, you know what, this night I'm gonna have a dream, and in the morning,
Yeah,
try and remember what you dreamt. And you have
yeah.
seen people that never dreamed before, and all of a sudden they are dreaming, or they are remembering what they dreamed. You have had the chance
The
of
very
seeing that.
next the very next morning. But most of them think that they saw, for example, something. I remember a woman in Montreal who had a dream. She woke up and she saw a blue foot. Come on, and she said that doesn't mean anything. And when we talked about the dream, it meant a lot because, the foot is the way we are stepping into the reality, the way we are acting in our life. It's our material world. It was her right foot. She's somebody who uses her right hand, and the foot. I don't know how we can tell it in English, but when it's blue, it's kind of it means to me that it doesn't have an oxygen. It doesn't have, it is not able to breathe. The cells
Yeah.
are not able to breathe. So to me, I told her, I didn't know that the woman. I never saw her again. I saw her just at that conference. She was a Mohawk, from the Mohawk tribe, next to Montreal. And I said, okay, to me, if it were my dream, I would say that I had so many things to do. I have so many to do in my daily life that I can barely breathe. I can barely give myself some oxygen, and also that I'm related to art. I was talking about that, and that I need to have some space in my daily life just to practice the art and practicing some kind of, I had the sense of psychic. She was kind of a psychic, and all was true, and she was just looking at me and said, okay, how can you tell it, but just the image of a blue foot, right blue foot, can tell us a lot of things. Because it was also the way, when we processed, it was years ago, the process to the dream with her, and the way the blue was dispatched on her foot, that gave us a lot of information. So it just one image, just an image who doesn't even move, is very important.
Wow.
So we have to, I would say, see that and say, okay, I write it down, even if I'm not able to understand it, but it means something. And the more we take care of it, the more we just respect it, what comes during the night, and we write it down, the more we will dream. Because if you neglect it the whole time, why should that, I would say, our inner being, why should it try to talk with us? We don't care. So after a time, it will be quiet.
Okay, so I understand what you mean. So if it happens that we don't pay attention, it'll go away, like someone that is being
Yeah,
ignored, right? So if it's not giving us, I
yeah.
understand. And how about communicating with someone else? Is that a possibility also? Like, can I, if I, you said that if you meet someone that you haven't, seen in a while, so we have a chance of catching up with that someone.
Yeah.
And how about the free will of that other person? Isn't that a boundary in that case? What if the other person doesn't really want to know anything about us? Or is the same rules apply when dreaming?
Uh, when you catch up with somebody, you meet somebody in the dream, it's because the person did agree. Otherwise, we won't meet it. We won't meet the person. So we can only meet and discuss and have a talk with people. They who are willing to do it. Otherwise, we won't.
Wow. And your work consists in helping people heal and find, growth, spiritual growth, through active dreaming, amongst other things. How do you do that? How can you help someone heal through the art of active dreaming?
I would say first, the dream is a way of healing. And it's a way to, it's our connection to our soul. It is the language of our soul. So if we begin to have, I would say, communication with our soul, we begin to heal because we listen to our soul. And we also, with this communication, we are able to have some, I would say, information. And if we just take care of this information and we do some stuff with it, we pay respect to our soul, so it will grow. And the most important is to be to be linked, to have a communication with our soul, and just to be able to know what our deepest purpose is, and our soul will tell it to us. So just being able to be connected to our soul is a way of healing.
And you have been able to see how someone that has come to you with a burden, and through the art of knowing how to dream or how to actively dream, they have been able to leave behind traumas or things from the past that were a burden when they got to you. Is there a way that would you be open to share with us some of that experiences?
It is, I know a lot of people who did it, because it's very important to be able to confront our past. That is sometimes very, very difficult and heavy. And the active dreamers, because I'm not the only one who is an active dreamer, all the active dreamers who I know are doing that kind of stuff. They are helping people to go through the dark night of the soul, we would say that, and to be able just to tap into to be in connection with their soul, and to be able to tap again in, I would say, the kindness of the soul, and also the joyfulness, it's able to revive and to be to the inner child, to heal also the inner child. And so what we can do, for example, is going back into a dream or into a shamanic journey, because we use shamanic journeying with the drum, and we will go back at the time we had that trauma, and we meet the person we were then. For example, I say, I had a trauma at 6 years old, so I will go back through a shamanic journey to meet my 6 years old, to cheer my 6 years old, to cheer my inner child, or my 6 years old self up, and to prepare him or her to be able to stand and confront that is going to happen to that 6 years old child,
So we can actually, through those altered state of consciousness, modify the way we've been feeling about a certain event.
No, I would say meeting, because there is no time and space. So we do exist in all time. So meeting back, really going back to meet the child. For example, Robert Moss told us when he was a child, he was a very sick child. He had a few near-death experiments. He died a few times. And his book, he wrote a book about it, and called The Boy Who Died. So, and he went back to the hospital where he was, and he had died, and just woke up after. And he just talked with that boy, this young boy. And After that, he also remembered one time, he remembered that at the time he was sick at the hospital, he saw an old man coming in, talking with him and telling him it will be better. And he remember after that he was doing it. He was able to go and visit himself, and just to give some strength and energy to the child. So it's not just it's not just a fantasy of the mind, it's reality, because we are always in different realities. We are always on different times and paths, and and we are able to do that, and we are able to visiting ourselves when we were younger, whatever. It could be at 30, it could be at 20 or younger. It doesn't matter. We are able to do that through shamanic journeying.
How do you get someone into a shamanic journey? How do you put someone in an altered state of consciousness through that technique?
So we use the drum in a certain beat. We use a drum fast in a certain beat, but and that is able to connect our brain waves to it. Just allows our brain waves to enter into the theta waves. So it's a kind of a very relaxing, very that allows us to have our vision and to travel. We do it with the drum. We don't do it with, plants, for example, ayahuasca or peyote or iboga or whatever, San Pedro. We don't do it with that. We do it with the drum. The drum is our tool.
So in a way, besides the effect of the music, that is now known that it's very powerful because it can actually make your brain get into a certain wave, it's basically self-induced, right? So you don't use any pharmaceuticals, either natural or chemicals.
No.
And do you do these type of things in a group, or is it like an individual sessions?
We can do both. We do it in a group, and so we lead them to dream, and we can also we do a journey. For example, when I do my workshops, I do certain topics. We can do it with dreaming with the dead, or dreaming with the ancient Egyptian or North gods, or whatever. It doesn't matter. And we do looking behind the veil, for example. And we give some information to the people, to the group. And after that, I'm drumming, and they have the lead, and they follow the drum, they follow the instruction, and they have their own experience. Because the most important is that they have their experience, their own experience. It is not the way we work. The way we work is to give the people the possibility to have their own experience, because it is empowering the people, giving them the possibility to bring back their power, the power they lost. And also, that is important, is to say that whatever happens during a shamanic journey, they always can come back when they want. Sometimes it can be frightened. If you are not frightened, in a way, if you are not used to, and all of a sudden you are facing, I don't know, a bear, or you're facing a lion, and it is so totally real, you can, so I go out. I just quit the dream state, because it's with the drum. So it's not ayahuasca, or you have to, with a pharmaceutical or other different plants, you have to wait that the effect stops. But with the drum, it's powerful in a very, very profound way. It's very powerful, but you can quit whenever you want to. So it's safe for everybody to do a shamanic journey with the drum.
That sounds very interesting. And normally, what is the typical type of emotional challenge that is facing the people that normally comes to you seeking for this type of healing? Is there like a not a stereotype, but a typical type of problems that people presenting when they come to you?
I would say most of the time the people want to go further into their path. So they want to go further, they want to go deeper, and they want to know themselves. And the most what I hear is just being able to take back my power, to bring back my power, because of all the loss of power we have in all our lives, with grief and whatever we have to face, and it's not easy, not always easy. So most of the time they want to take back their power. You know, they want to grab their power and be empowered again. And it's, you know, it's very different, because when I do a shamanic, when I do a workshop in Paris, of course, I won't do a workshop. I don't do a workshop with bears, because we don't have bears in Paris, you know. When I do a workshop here in a Canary Island, because I'm living in a Canary Island, for example, I'm working with dragons, with the power of the earth. And that's very powerful. It's a very powerful island. And you have to, I would say, you have to see what kind of people you have and where you are giving your workshop. In Switzerland, I can work with the power of the mountains and with the energy of the mountains. Or when I did my workshop in Saskatchewan, I worked with people. You drive 5 hours and you don't see any ice. Yes, I saw 2 cars within 5 hours, you know, driving. So you have to adapt your teachings and your teaching to the land, and to also to the people. So, and to the, I would say, the what they need, to their needs, you know. So it's very different from one country to another, from one kind of people to another kind. So
You travel and do that in different places. Where do you feel is there a place where you have found people connect more than others? Because my question probably is coming from what is that thing that keeps us so disconnected? Because we're looking for this type of techniques more and more. Every time people are more um, inclined to look for holistic or different type of healings. So what is it that keeps us so disconnected, and who do you think is waking up faster, or where are you having more request of your type of healing?
to me, I would say people who are in their brain. And so culture where they are a lot in their brain. In the US, what I could see, you have also the way of expressing the energy you get in during a journey. You express it with your body. And so for people in the US, it's very easy to express. You receive, for example, the energy of the snake, of the energy of a bear or whatever, or of an eagle or a crow. They can express it. When you ask people, show me with your body what you received, it's easy. Even if the people are not, for example, a very heavy people, it doesn't matter. They are able, and they are way more comfortable with their body. But if you go, for example, to France or to Switzerland, it's way more difficult. When you ask people, show me if they had a bird, if they are very, very brave, they make no more. They don't fly around with if they had an eagle or whatever for a bird. they are very shy because all is based on appearance and being. So if you are a little bit chubby, you don't show yourself, and you don't want to, if for example in Switzerland, you don't want to bump into others, and the look, the way people are always looking what the neighbor is doing or what. It's not great. That's in Switzerland, more in Switzerland. What I had, my experience, and I did during years, around 5-6 workshops a year. So, and in Paris is more, all is processed by the brain. So it's a very, it has to do with the intellectual, the mind, because French people are intellectual. So all is here, and they are not very, they have to process it and to think about it. So it's a different way of behaving. So it's easier in the US, it's easier in Canada to do this kind of work. I have a website. They can. I didn't have the time to put it in English. I have the translation and in Spanish, but I didn't have the time. But I have a website, and they can always send me an email without problem. I will answer even in English or in Spanish. I get it, so I can answer in both languages. So, and my email, it's contact at conscienceetrealité.com. So it's a little bit difficult. Will you put it under the video or the? Or yeah, it's not easy in English for me but so contact without problem. So after at conscience, CONSC. This is the IENCE, conscious, and you have a little. What is the dash? And after you have ET at A. So dash ET, and after reality in French, so meaning REALI. Now that's a difficult, always tricky to me. So TES.com. So, but consciousness and realities, all with my name, Natacha Renata Kimberly or Natacha Kimberly. If they Google it, they will find it on Google, and they can write it to me, without problem. So it was very nice. Thank you. I would say you will always find a way home, meaning always find a way to connecting, to be able to connect to your soul, because the soul is reaching out, wants to be connected to us. So if we make these efforts, we will be able to get our connection. So I would say that.
Thank you again, Natacha. We are truly thankful for the time that you have dedicated to us, to the Mindalia TV audience, for accepting the invitation in English. I know that can be very challenging sometimes, but you did it perfectly fine. That's what we're doing, just sharing information that can help raise the level of consciousness in the planet. This is Mindalia's mission, and you can help us by subscribing to our channel, leaving us a positive comment down this video, or sharing with someone that you know that can benefit of the content that we're going to be talking here today. And we're sending you a very, very big hug from our heart to yours. And until next time, bye bye.